Today, we'll talk about tax sale properties that seem like incredible deals, but the county, they really don't even want to sell them. Let's go ahead and switch it over to my screen. I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. So the website you see is tax-sale.info. It's run by a company called Title Check, which handles the tax foreclosures in the state of Michigan for the majority of the counties. Now, we've seen this website many times before. I'm going to use this as an example of what I am talking about. I actually had a viewer write in on YouTube asking a question about one of these properties. And I realized that this was actually the same situation I found myself in the first time I saw them, because you look at them and they look like tremendous deals, initially at least. So we'll kind of go through a couple of these examples to show you exactly what I am talking about. Now, they're not available in every county, but they are available in a few counties. And Saginaw is one of them. So you look at this. You have two-story in disrepair, you have abandoned homes, you have properties that were fire damaged, you have properties that just are not in great condition, right? You have properties that have all sorts of issues with them, but even still, they'll still be sold by the county. Now, in the state of Michigan and in a few other states, the process remains the same. They still have to go through tax foreclosures, they still have to offer these for sale, but they can put certain stipulations on properties when they sell them. So if you look at some of these properties here and you read the terms and conditions, this person would have paid $2,200. And one of the more recent stipulations is they would have to have paid the current taxes of $1,017.25. So, if you look 10, 15 years back, if you bid $100 and you're the winning bidder, all you paid was $100. You'd never have to pay any taxes whatsoever. Over time, they've changed some laws, changed some processes. And this is one of the things that has occurred probably in the past, 5 or 6 years. So you pay your max bid amount plus the taxes that are due. It looks like they add it now at checkout. So you just pay it all at once. Prior to that, you would place your bid, go down to the county, pay the taxes, and then provide the receipts to Title Check. So that's just one stipulation on every property in Michigan now that is sold through the tax foreclosure process. But understand there's some properties that have a lot more stipulations, and we're about to talk about those momentarily. Let's see. Here's right here. So Saginaw lot 8234. You look at this, and if you click it briefly, you've got a minimum bid of $7,800 with an SEV of $437,000. So the SEV is, they say it's about half in the state of Michigan. Obviously, for tax sale properties, you look at something like this, and you really don't need to use that for your valuation, because properties can burn down, demolish, all sorts of other things. But long story short, they say the SEV is 1/2 of the fair market value as assessed by the local tax assessor. So you've got $7,800 minimum bid and a pretty substantial $850,000, $900,000 SEV, or fair market value, I should say. So it's a pretty solid return, right? Buy something for $7,800 and you get $850,000 out of it. I would do that deal all day long. But the issue is it's not quite that easy. What happens is they bundle these properties up. There's 78 different parcels that they have bundled. And these are properties that the local treasurer and the local county have likely deemed beyond economical repair. These are properties that are condemned, properties that are abandoned, properties that legal activities take place, things like that. So they identify these types of properties, and they say, in order to buy this bundle, we'll sell it to you cheap. Nobody else has bid on it. We'll sell it to you for $7,800. However, there's some certain stipulations that must be met. As a term of sale, you have to either demolish or remediate the structures within 180 days of the auction date. Now, there's a lot of properties here. Don't know how many. Some of these looks like some of these are vacant. Some of these have homes on them. Long story short, demolishing, even 50 homes in 180 days is going to be a little difficult, number one, just from a time standpoint. But number two, it's going to be very expensive. So in that regard, they require you to post a surety bond in the amount of $625,500, which is probably going to be the amount that they estimate it will cost you to demolish all of these structures. So you have to post that within 600 or post a surety bond within 5 business days. And if the surety bond is not presented, they will cancel the sale. They must also have a very detailed plan to the seller within 30 days that they have to approve. So if you want to keep any structure, you have to do remediation. You have to restore the structures. You have to demolish the ones you aren't going to keep. You have to go and add ground cover to stabilize the ground surface. It has to be a licensed and insured contractor. There's a lot of stipulations that they're putting on this bundle of properties that they're selling. But when you look at these, the majority of these are going to be, and I'll see if I can find a lot of these are vacant lots, it looks like. And it looks like you basically get a lot of free vacant lots in exchange for demolishing some of these houses, a lot of these houses. So what happens is they offer it like this, kind of, I think, half-heartedly, so the properties don't sell. If they do sell, it's kind of best case scenario for them because, they get $7,800 out of it, and somebody else is responsible for the demolition of those properties or the remediation or, whatever else is going on that's required for these properties. But, you look at this property here. This is a property that is on the list. Yeah, so right there, you got a property that was very badly damaged, there's junk outside of it. There's just trash all around it. You scroll around. It doesn't look like it's a horrible area, but by all means, that's probably beyond economical repair. And if you didn't want to repair it, you could repair it. But again, you have to give them your plan. They have to approve your plan and stuff. So that's basically what happens is, the best case scenario is somebody buys this, put for the bond, they pay for all the demolition and remediation and all that good stuff. They make everything level, make it all perfect again. But from the investor standpoint, nobody really wants to do that because you're not making any money off of these properties. And if they go unsold, then the county will have control of these properties, which is generally the idea behind putting these properties in this bundle with these stipulations. The county will take control, then they'll go in there and they'll actually, eventually they'll demolish the structures and they'll sell the properties as surplus land or, sell them to the neighbors, that kind of stuff. So that was a bundle that we saw in Saginaw. There's another bundle as well in Genesee County. And these happen every single year. You look at a county like Genesee, it's going to be Flint, Michigan. So you scroll down, there's some properties that have sold here. We've actually done reviews on all these before, but we're just looking at these on this one on the bottom. So here's a performance bond on this one as well. This is a bundle of properties. 293 tax parcels being sold as a single lot. So again, you have $102,000 minimum bid with an SEV of close to $3 million. That would be a fair market value if that was accurate, which it is not, of close to $6 million. So $100,000 and $6 million, I think people would do that all day long, right? So we'll pull this property up. This is just one of the many houses that are being sold in this bundle. But again, you scroll down and there's loads and loads and loads. And the majority of these are actually a property. So, or houses. And also not only are you required to get the surety bond, pay the bid amount, but you also have to pay the taxes on these properties, pay taxes on a house you're about to rip down. So let's see what we're looking at here. Just curious. Yeah, so you got this house here. It's it doesn't look quite as bad as the one that was fire damage in Saginaw, but obviously it's, in some state of disrepair in the county or the city, I should say, wants it gone. You look at this right next door to it, actually, there was a house here probably not too long ago. You can actually see the dozer tracks right there. They ripped this house down, and that's what they're doing as part of kind of rebuilding this specific area is, you look across the street, some decent properties there. I mean, not horrible properties, but you go back and let's look at this. We'll look at the see more dates here. We'll go back to 2022. So this is the house that was next door to it. Obviously, even then, it was in a state of disrepair. So this is a property. Let's see. Back then, it had a pink tag. Not sure if that's indicative of a code violation or whatever, but like this property was torn down by the city more than likely. So, the city goes through and they identify these properties. that are just not in good condition. They're beyond economical repair because, by the time you put the money in this to rebuild it, to re-roof it, new HVAC, new electrical, all that good stuff, you're not going to get your money back out of it as an investor. And the city knows that. So they'll go in there, they'll knock it down, and they'll sell it as a vacant lot. And, at some point, maybe in the future, development will return to that area. That's kind of the idea behind it. Same thing with this property right here. Again, it looks like that doesn't look horrible, but, the city says it's bad enough condition that needs to be torn down. And odds are there's a property over here at one time. Let's see what was here. Looks like that's been gone for a while. But yeah, there's the property. And I guess the neighbor's blurred out. But there's the property. And you look at it again. And yeah, it's just, it's kind of going into a state of disrepair. And if you looked at the majority of these, now you'll find some, you're like, wow, I'd buy that property, but the county knows more about it than we do. And they've probably been looking at the property for a very long time and they're kind of sick of it. Right. And, they want it gone. So that's the reason they put these properties in bundles. Let's look at this one here. This actually might be a vacant lot already. Or if it's not vacant, it's behind these trees. Okay, so that's a vacant lot. Let's go down a little bit. And I mean, you can tell too that they know these properties have very little value. So there's another vacant lot, it looks like perhaps. So they just kind of bundle. Yeah, well, this one you have the foundation you have to take care of. And it looks like a basement you have to backfill in and stuff. So, they know that more than likely an investor is just not going to invest the time or the money into a bundle like this, so the city will end up with it. But if you wanted to, obviously you could buy this, meet their obligations, pay them the $102,000 plus your $154,000 in tax, and see what happens. But by the time you factor in all the remediation costs and demolition costs, you're just not going to get your money back out of it. Sorry, but the first time I saw a bundle like that, I was like, wow, this could be a fantastic deal. They also tend to do it on properties that have contamination type issues. They will put certain stipulations on those properties, and we'll see. Let me go back to let's look at Genesee from last year. There might be another example. I'm near certain that there was. Let's see. We'll scroll down. Okay, so here's another demolition performance bond requirement. This is 2024 tax sale. 329 tax parcels that were being offered in this one. And again, you must purchase them all separately. $115,000, $200K in taxes. And you go through all these. And obviously nobody bought this because it's the same type situation. This one wanted an $8 million surety bond. Now that $8 million surety bond is going to be pretty expensive. Number one, depending on the contractor, their financial feasibility, that kind of stuff. So that's another expense that you have, if you were planning on doing this. But you have to present the surety bond within 5 business days. Again, you have to have timelines, demolition plans, have to repair the sites. You have to add dirt if you need to, for like that basement that we saw earlier. So you look at all these, and it's just, you can kind of understand why these types of properties are on this list. Let's look at this one. This was from last year. It might be demolished by now. We don't know. But the county took over this one. 8450 South Saginaw, Mount Morris. That's probably the structure right there. Or maybe it's the structure right there. I don't know exactly. But again, obviously, these are areas that these structures are on this list because the county wants them gone, and the county or the city wants them gone, and they want them gone for a reason. Let's look at, that's a Apopka, Florida. That's pulled up the wrong address. We'll just go somewhere else here. Let's look at this one right here and see exactly what we're looking at here. That's going to be in Flint, Michigan. All right, so we got this. Okay, so like there's this structure right here. They have not demolished that structure yet. But that's the type of stuff that you're going to see on these lists. It's just beyond any sort of repair. And more than likely, this person that lives in this house, they probably want this house. It's causing blight to the neighborhood, so they want that house demolished as well. And they don't want that house to be sold to a investor that buys the property online for $100 and it just sits there. So that's the reason they came up with this bundling system. They don't want these properties to go to a guy, from overseas, or a guy from across the country. That's like, let's see, and I'll actually show you an example of this, because I've seen this many, many times. So, you have a house like this house right here, for example. Somebody it was sold for $400. The person that invested $400 in that, now they might be the type of person to go in there and remodel it. More than likely, that property will not get refurbished. It will not be sold. It will not become a asset to the community. But in 3 or 4 years, it'll land back on this tax sale list, and more than likely, then it will go into the bundle. So, these are, and the city and the county knows this, but they do try to sell certain properties to investors, hoping that they will be rehabbed and resold eventually. But they know that the majority of the properties in this bundle, at least, have zero chance of actually being productive when it comes to the area that they are in. So, they've been doing this for years. Again, the county, the city have certain abilities to label properties as nuisance properties and put them into those bundles. So when you see those bundles, number one, don't get mad that the property's on there, because you probably don't want to buy it in the first place. And number two, understand the county is trying to do what's best for them. As an investor, there is very, very little opportunity for you for those properties. Now, sometimes you will see, maybe subdivisions that were not completely finished that have performance bonds set aside for them. So you buy land that has the legal entitlements where you can actually go in there and, put the roads in and sell the lots individually. So they might require bonds for stuff like that. And you can make that work if you have experience. But for the properties that require a demolition bond, there's just not properties you want to invest in. And there are a few different states that actually allow this same bundling process and the same stipulation type process on certain properties when they know that those types of properties, something needs to be done with those properties. So there are certain laws that allow it. Michigan is generally the most common area that I see these performance bond requirements and these bundling lots that they're selling. But it does happen in other areas as well. So next time you see a property like that, now you know the backstory behind it. And hopefully this helps you out. For more information, make sure you check out taxsaleacademy.com. We offer our most comprehensive step-by-step tax sale training platform. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.